What's good, America? Welcome back to some of you guys. My name is Reggie Florima, a.k.a. Big Flo. Together with Oliver Gibson, I am the Big Flo and O Show. Just had to stop off real quick and answer some technical difficulties, but we're back. Got a special guest for you guys. Hopefully some of you new people are joining in. The next guest has such long list of accolades. I'm just going to give you the cliff notes, kind of how I got through college. So we got 1987 Heisman Trophy winner. He was a first-round draft choice by the Raiders. 9-time Pro Bowler, College Football Hall of Fame, and now a member with the gold jacket of the NFL Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Brown. How's it going, Tim?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm not going to rob you of your applause. Here goes your applause. All right, your applause in there. I'm good, man. Seeing what's going on with this unrest has been really unsettling. I don't know how bad it is right now in Dallas, but in Chicago, it's goofy. I'm out here in the burbs. I thought everyone feels safe in the suburbs. We're hiding. They looted everything. They put us on martial law. It's crazy.
No, it's a real different time in our world, brother. And we're having some peaceful protesting here in Dallas. But when the sun goes down, brother, it turns into a different animal. And unfortunately, what's happening then, I don't know if that really honors what they're trying to do, what we all stand for, and that is, you want to honor, the life of a man that shouldn't have been killed the way he was. But I don't know if taking something out of Neiman Marcus does that.
No, it doesn't. And what you're hearing is it's other groups. I'm looking at some of these arrests. I got a friend in Minneapolis who's a police officer, and he tells me 90% of the people that they've arrested aren't from Minnesota. Most of them are not African American. Most of them probably don't even know what the protest is about. But they hear protests, they know they can go looting, and they're letting them do it. So it's a shame. I hope people see through it, because I do think that for the first time in forever, you're seeing police officers taking a knee. You're seeing a lot of solidarity. I'm seeing a lot of police officers speaking out. And I think, not to get too far in the social issue here, but I think that's what we need as a country. We need people to realize that there is a problem, and they need to speak out and speak together. When it's wrong, it's wrong. We have sides in this country, and if your side is acting up, you got to call your side out, and I think things will get better. I just hope people see through all the other crap that's going on as well. So,
No doubt.
Anyway, well, I brought you here to talk about football because, again, my fans are excited. We had Jerome Bettis on yesterday, following it up, and I said, all right, I got one Hall of Famer. I'm gonna come back with. I'll raise you one Hall of Famer and put a Heisman Trophy and Hall of Famer. See what we can go in. I don't know. We may have to end the show after today. I don't know if we can outdo you today. So, a lot of my fans on the show are like to hear about the message of people and how they get where they get. So, talk to me about how you ended up in Notre Dame. Again, you were in the Jerry Faust era. I don't remember how many years he lasted. Was he there before, or were you early with him?
Yeah, he when I got there, it was year 4 for him. So I had him my freshman and my sophomore year.
Okay.
He was fired right after the sophomore season. But for me, man, my parents, all they wanted from me was for me to get a great education. And Notre Dame was the only school that came knocking on the door that talked education before they talked football.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents, my mom never went to my high school football games. My dad and I had a little bit of a funny relationship at the time. He came to my games, but I never knew he was at my games. So, I think from that standpoint, so they looked like this football thing was a fluke.
Yeah.
So I remember when I walked out the door, he was like, "Hey, look, boy, there's no future in football for you. You go up there and get that education and come on back home." So
what do they say about that now, buddy? No future to total future.
They tuned after a couple of years, no doubt. But for me, Notre Dame was a very comfortable place. Traveling around the country like I was doing for recruiting trips. Notre Dame brothers were a little different, and guys who I wanted to hang out with, wanted to be friends with. Matter of fact, my host Alvin Miller, I said to myself, I gotta have this brother in my life some kind of way. And the only way I could have done that at the time, I believe, we didn't have social media and all that kind of good stuff. I could have kept in touch with him. But the only way I could have done that was to be at Notre Dame, and it was worth it for me to go to the University of Notre Dame to have a friend like Alvin Miller.
Man, that's a testament. That's a true testament right there. I hope that friendship has lasted through all these years.
Oh, No doubt. He's texting me now, right now on the phone, trying to get me.
Trying to get you to come golf. Let's go do something now. So talk to me about this. I've heard your story before, but for the listeners, when Coach Holtz got there, you weren't the star receiver. You weren't on this projection to do with the great things you did, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right? That he saw something in you? Can you talk people through that?
Yeah, I was just a guy, man. I was starting every other game or whatever. My sophomore year I did. I was returning a few punts and a few kicks, but I wasn't the main guy for that. Um, I was literally just a guy, and I was happy. I thought this was what
Comfortable.
yeah, I thought this is what big time college football is about. And I was on time to graduate. That was the most important thing for me. And so, after 2 days of spring ball, man, we had winter practice, right? Getting up at 5 a.m., that crazy stuff. But once we got outside, man, we got to spring ball. After 2 days of practice, he pulled me over and asked me all these questions about, why did you play more? Why weren't they, featuring you and all that kind of stuff? And I just say, Coach, look, they just didn't do it. There's no coaching staff in America dumb enough not to play you. You tell me what the deal was. Was it drugs? Was it grade? We went through all these things, man. And, once I finally convinced him that there was no trouble, he told me, look, the only way you won't get the ball is if the defense finds a way to intercept and snap from center. If they do that, then I can't get you the ball. But if that ball gets to the quarterback, I'm going to find a way to get it in your hands. And so, but man, it took him about 2.5 weeks to really get through to me because I just thought this old guy was crazy, right? And he needed somebody to be on his side, so he was going to pick Tim Brown and hype me up with all these compliments
Mm-hmm.
in hopes that I would say good things about him in the locker room or something. So,
Well,
um,
that's the opposite of the mentality of the receivers that came after you, the divas, the give me the damn ball receivers that came. You seemed like you said you were humble, you were cool. Who knew you had Heisman talent in there that you
right.
just didn't see?
Yeah, and it took about 2.5 weeks, man. Finally, I just said to myself, "Look, Tim, just do what this guy asked you to do. All right, prove him wrong. He thinks you're gonna be all this. He called me the most intelligent football player he'd ever coached, and I joked and said, "Well, hey guys, he's only been at Arkansas and Minnesota, so let's not get too excited
Who knows?
about that."
Yeah.
Uh, but he was pulling me in, telling me all these great things I was doing on the field, things he wasn't asking me to do. And I just said to myself, okay, just do what he asked you to do, prove him wrong. And man, every week, for the rest of spring ball, things got better. Got to the season, got up to a great start. And now I'm following him around, right? Hey, coach, you got some more words for me? I'm going to figure out what you got for me. So, but yeah, man, it was life altering stuff, and I'm just happy that I listened.
That's fantastic. Well, fast forward, you're having great seasons, great success. You're the face of the program, face of the Midwest, face of football. You get to the Heisman race. What's it like to get through the Heisman race like that? Do you feel like you're campaigning for it? Or is it kind of like sit back and see what happens? What goes through your mind when that happens?
No, I think, man, thankfully for me anyway, I think we lost the opening game to Michigan, and then we won like 7 games straight.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, for me, it was easy to stay focused on the team goals because my high school, man, we were 4-25-1 my 3 years on varsity,
Wow.
and I think we went 5-6, 6-5, or and 5-6, and lose first year we went 5-6. So I hadn't really been on a winning football team.
Mm-hmm.
So to win 7 games, man, I was like, woohoo!
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with myself. And so we went to Penn State, man, with a chance. If we beat Penn State, we go to Miami to play for the national championship if we beat Miami. So we lose that game on a 2-point conversion. We tried to go for two. It didn't get it. We could have tied, but it wouldn't helped us in the standings. At that time, obviously, there was no overtime in college. So after that, everybody was like, okay, well, we can't play for the national championship. Let's try and win Timmy the Heisman. And so I probably had my worst game of the year with everybody trying to help me win the Heisman versus Miami in Miami. So you know how
Hmm.
that goes.
Yeah.
But so it was a pretty calm year up until the last week. But then after that, man, the nervousness, just being invited, man, just being there. And I had a buddy, one of my teammates, Notre Dame teammates, Brandy Wells, said to me, "Well, you know you're going to win, right?" And I was like, "Why is that, Brandy?" He said, "Well, because nobody in America can vote you worse than second. So, so Gaston Green may get first on the West Coast, but you're going to get second. Don McPherson may win the East Coast, but you're going to get second. And you're going to win the Midwest because you're here." And I was like, that really makes a lot of sense. And then
Hmm.
that drove me crazy thinking about that, right?
Right.
So you go to New York, man. Everybody. I remember Jim Nance came up to me and said, you really deserve to be here. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh my God, he knows I must have won.
Yeah.
and, and then James Brown came up to me and said, well, whatever happens, it was an incredible career for you. I was like, well, maybe I did win because, you're living and dying with every word that people say, man. And but to hear your name called, I didn't realize it at that moment, but certainly soon after that, you realize that your world changes, and literally your name changes because you're no longer Tim Brown. You're now Heisman Trophy winner Tim Brown.
You got a lot of people have to pick the adjectives before they describe you now. So now you're a Heisman Trophy winner. Then you guys go play. You played A&M, I think, in the Cotton Bowl. Wasn't that the towel game?
Yes.
Where they stole the towel?
Good
I'm
job.
trying to. Okay, and then season ends. You got your first one of the season, and here comes the NFL draft. I believe you were the sixth pick, I think, in the draft.
Yes.
Sixth pick in the
Yes.
NFL draft. So what's going through your mind there? Did you think? I mean, because going back 2 years, you're happy being a guy who's a substitute, right? You're happy just getting some playing time and whatever.
Yeah.
In 24 or short months, here you are getting picked sixth pick in the draft. I mean,
Yeah.
talk us through where your mind is going and just how the trajectory of Tim Brown is.
Yeah. I think those 2 weeks, man, really changed me. The 2 weeks with Lou, hearing all those things and what I was capable of doing, and then going out and implementing those on the football field really changed me. And I think by the time we got midway through our junior year, my mental approach to the game had changed from I want to be a participant to I want to go dominate.
Yeah,
And that's a totally, when you go out with that kind of mindset, it's just totally different than going out going, hey, I'm happy to be here. Oh, I dropped the ball, I caught the ball. Oh, there was no more of that. There was no mistakes that could be made. There was, less, when you had a chance to break one, you broke it.
hmm
You did what you had to do. So I think from that standpoint, man, by the time I got to the NFL, mentally, I was a beast,
hmm
right? I was mentally tough. I was mentally strong, and I was ready for whatever came my way. And even being on a Raiders team that had a very veteran football team, James Lofton was my roommate and the guy who really taught me how to play the receiver position. At Notre Dame, my last year, we were in the wishbone
hmm
most of the year because Terry Andreziak got hurt and Tony Rice had to run the offense. So going from a 3-point stance to being in front of Mike Haynes, my first day of practice with the Raiders was not a very easy thing to do.
Yeah. So you were
So yeah,
3 point
man.
stance wide receiver back then?
Yes, yes. Well,
You know how
we
gross that would look today if you saw somebody getting a 3 point stance at a wide
yeah,
receiver?
yeah. I mean, even my junior year, when we have Steve Berline throwing, we ran every route out of a 3-point stance. Yeah.
Wow. You know what? Someone should bring that back just for the confusion it would cause. Just everybody get a 3 point stance. Everyone will start looking around like, what's going on? What's going on? Just run out there when you're out. So,
Yeah.
so Raider Nation. Talk to me about Raider Nation. You were there for pretty much almost your whole career until you finished up with Tampa Bay, I believe. Talk to me
Yeah.
about Raider Nation. I know they're about to move. They moved a couple times or whatever. Fan base is a rabid fan base through thick and thin. Talk about those years.
Well, I tell you, man, I tell people all the time, I have one of these Cameo accounts. I don't know if you heard of Cameo, but Cameo is
Mm-mm.
an account where people can call in and wish and have you to wish a loved one happy birthday, Father's Day, whatever, whatever. So I just signed up a couple months ago, and during this pandemic time, for some reason, the thing has just exploded. Right, I'm doing tons and tons of these cameos, and one of the things I get a lot of Raider Nation and from Irish fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I tell Raider Nation folks all the time, one of the things that I've enjoyed most in my life over the last 30 years is my relationship with Raider Nation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these guys have really, really supported me, not just when I did things just because I was scoring touchdowns, but they even in bad times, man, they would find ways to support you. That it was a little different than just a regular fan. I always felt like it was a different fan, different kind of relationship than just being a fan and an athlete. I can remember when my first daughter was born after football games. Of course, I'm tired. We had this dinner that we always did at the hotel right there in Oakland. I can remember, these guys literally helping me with my baby with the basket with the car seat deal, carrying it into. I got Raider Nation carrying my baby, my 2 month old baby into the dinner for me, and they did it because they wanted a chance to walk into the dinner, right?
Yeah.
To see what was all in there.
And
But
you needed
I
a
had
break as a parent, new parent. You needed a break, so you're like, here, hold, I got it.
so those kind of things, man, that you share with people are just different than, hey, can you sign an autograph for me? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've always thought I've had a real personal relationship with those guys. Let me tell you a quick incident. So in 1996, we were playing horrific football, man. I mean, I think we went 6-10 that year, 7-9 or something like that. But we lost like almost every game at home. I
Mm.
mean, we just played horrific football at home, and it got to the point where fans started to boo us, right? And man, they booed us one game, and we lost the game, and they booed us off the field, right? And so I had a radio show there in Oakland that was pretty popular, and I can remember just going off, man.
Yeah.
Just going off on Raider Nation, man, as much as I could on live radio, right? And and I just told them, look, if you guys, if you mean to help us, booing us doesn't help
Mm-hmm.
because that only encourages the defense or the offense or the other team
Right.
to keep doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, just stay home if y'all don't want to if y'all don't want to cheer for us. The next week, man,
Did they stay on?
again we're playing terrific football again, and people start to boo, and you literally see people in the stand doing this, like,
Hey, shh,
oh.
shh. He's gonna get us. He's gonna get us. That's the
And that
best.
was when I realized, man, that they were really listening to things that I was saying, and ever since that day, man, I think my relationship with those guys have just been one of sometimes parent to kid, sometimes brother to brother,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I'm listening to an older guy tell me what to do. So,
Yeah.
but it's been a great.
Hey, do me a favor. Scoot to your left just a little bit. The way that the screen splits, you can't see your whole face. So to your left, I believe. There. Yep. Perfect. So, what do you think about this move that they're going to do to Vegas? You think it's going to be good? You think Raider Nation will follow them, or are you against it? Are you a purist, want them to stay?
Look, man, of course I wanted them to stay in Oakland. That's their home. That's where they should be. But obviously, the city of Oakland didn't feel that way because if they did, they would have done everything they possibly could to make that happen, and they chose not to do that.
Yeah.
So you can't turn down an opportunity that they were given in Vegas. I remember when I first heard it. I can remember being up in Oakland and yelling and screaming at the president of the Raiders, like, "Are you guys crazy? How you think these young guys are going to be able to stay away from all this trouble, whatever?" And
Yeah.
they were
True
just sitting
that.
there looking. They were sitting there looking at me like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And they let me finish, and they said, "Hey, Tim, when we were in L.A., did we have problems?" I was like, "Yeah, we had a whole bunch of problems in L.A. Did we have problems in Oakland? We had a whole bunch of problems here too. Said we're gonna have problems there, but you knew it in L.A. It was the same two or three guys who were
Mm-hmm.
going to be the guys. In Oakland, it was the same two or three guys who were going to be the problem guys. So it's going to be the same two or three guys in Vegas who are going to be the problem guys. But it is what it is. We'll deal with it. They say these guys are rich now. I was like, these young rich guys can't be in Vegas. It's like they're rich now. They can go to Vegas and be back. If be back for practice if they want to.
Yeah.
So that's set me up on that deal. And these guys are going to have to be mature about what they do, but at the same time, I think there are going to be some things put in place that can really help these guys out.
Well, there's a lot of cameras in Vegas, so a lot more cameras in Vegas than there were in Oakland. So they might want to be careful. I mean, although the amount of stars that they're going to share the limelight with is going to be different. So I don't know. I think it looks cool. I've been down there. I've seen them building the stadium. It just seems like in Vegas there's always room, and you're like, what was here before the stadium? And it just seems like it's in the middle of everything. But I don't know. I think it'll be kind of cool. You'll get a lot more international fans. A lot of people are going to keep coming. Uh-oh. Hold on, Tim.
Those are phone calls.
All right, sorry. A lot of people are going to be coming in town internationally and become fans of the Raiders. So, it's a way to capitalize on that. So, well, end of your football career, you get that knock on the door. And yesterday I had Jerome talking about it, so I'd like to hear your experience about becoming a member of the NFL Hall of Fame. How many times were you on the ballot before you got in?
Oh man, I think 5 times prior. So it was my 6th time, I believe. So
were you in the hotel each of the 5 times waiting for the knock?
So when I retired, man, I was number 2 in yards, 3 in catches, 3 in touchdowns when I retired.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it sounds Hall of Fame-ish to me.
I had been sold a bill of goods that I was going to be a first ballot guy. So I remember that first year we were down in Fort Lauderdale, and the day before, somebody told me, well, think about this, Tim. Jerry Rice is in this class too, and it's a good possibility that they won't want another receiver in the class because of that. So. And I was like, oh, man, yeah, I get that. So it didn't happen that year. A couple of years later, we're in Dallas and people are saying, oh, well, Tim, they just waited for it to be here in Dallas at your hometown and really celebrate you. So yeah. I've been into that one too. And it was really disappointed. And after that, man, I just decided that day up until about 4:30 was just going to be a normal day. Mm-hmm. And whatever I had to do, whatever events I had, because I had canceled everything. I wasn't doing anything. I was holding tight in the hotel room.
Right.
And so I learned that was not the way to do it. And so the next couple of years, one time I was on a helicopter when the Super Bowl was in New York. I was on a helicopter on the way back to New York City from Atlantic City in New Jersey mm-hmm. when the news came down. And I didn't make it that time either. So, I think, man, but once I got the call, brother, going to that, I was in the room.
Yeah.
And I was on my way to the restroom, actually. And somebody knocked at the door, and they always tell you that it was going to be a call, not a knock at the door. So I told my son to get it. And he got it, and he was like, Dad, I think you should come to the door. I was like, well, just tell him to hold on. Just tell him to hold on.
Tell him to hold on. I've been waiting 5 years. You tell him to hold on for a little while, right?
No idea who it was. So when I turned the corner and I saw it was Big Dave Baker, he starts saying, with this long soliloquy of words of, how the NFL Hall of Fame has been around for all these years. And I'm saying to myself, and then I see like 4 cameras around him, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you know Dave Baker, but he's 6'8", 400 pounds. So wow. He literally fills up the door. And but I see these cameras around him, and I say to myself, he better not be filming me, and he's about to tell me I didn't.
Punking me, yeah, don't do this.
So I think from that standpoint, man, I quickly realized that he was about to tell me that I had made the NFL Hall of Fame. And, after waiting so long, man, when I do get in, I'm going to tell everybody off. I'm going to tell everybody off when I do get in. And, bruh, yeah, after I finished crying for about 15 hours, you know.
Yeah, I know.
But it was just such an emotional moment, man. That to know all the hard work that you had put in over 17 years uh, was paying off for eternity.
If you had to rank them, Heisman, Hall of Fame, which one gave you more joy? Which one are you felt prouder about?
Yeah, I've been asked that several times, man. It's pretty unique, right? Because the Heisman, is a one man show, right? And
Mm-hmm.
even though obviously your teammates help you get there, you know, is you're the only one in the country that's going to win the Heisman that year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Hall of Fame is not but the thing about
It's
the
a
Heisman
class.
always, somebody can come out of nowhere and win the Heisman in one year. That's not going to happen in the Hall as a Hall of Fame. You're going to have to put in some serious work. So because I had to do what I had to do for a
So
sustained
long.
period in the NFL, certainly I cherish the fact that I'm an NFL Hall of Famer.
I mean, that's it is amazing. Like you said, 17 years to keep doing it, to come in as a Heisman. I wonder if there's a statistic about how many Heisman Trophy winners are in the Hall of Fame. Do you happen to know that?
Oh, yeah, we're actually putting together a little group together right now, the Heisman to the Hall. So there are only 9 guys.
Yeah, I mean, 9 people.
Doak Walker, Paul Horning, OJ, Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, Earl Campbell, Marcus, Allen, myself, and Barry Sanders.
Man,
And soon to be 10. Who is that 10th guy? Little trivia question for you.
10th to win a Heisman to go there. So,
He'll be in next year.
what position? What position is he?
Well, I'll tell you this, you're going to definitely know because he's the only DB to ever win the Heisman.
Oh, Woodson. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I probably wouldn't have figured it out, but I probably thought he was already in. That's why he was already such a foregone conclusion. So, what do you think? Switching topics a little bit about the changes and stuff. To now in your day, you used to come across that middle. You used to have real good peripheral. All these safeties are coming across. My son's a wide receiver, so as much as I'm a defender, I do love the fact that you can't touch him. It's touch football now. How do you feel about that? Having to work 17 years of mouth shots, and now all of a sudden you can't touch anybody.
Yeah, it's really really crazy, man. How different the game is, and Jerry Rice and I go down this thing every once in a while when we see each other. How many yards we would have now if
If they
if
couldn't
we
touch
were
you,
if we were
man.
playing. That people can't touch you the way we used to get knocked out. Folks trying to knock us out back in the day. So yeah, it's a different game, man. It's still a very enjoyable game. I think as a receiver, you don't have to be as cognizant of the things we had to be. Back in the day, one of my jobs my rookie year was I had to figure out who the hitters or big hitters were. James Lofton made me every week get up and tell the receivers who to look out for. You know, out of the linebackers and the safeties, who were the hitters. We didn't have too many cornerbacks who could hit hard, but that was my job, man, to figure that out for the team. You got to stay away from this guy. If you're in his area, just know he's going to take your head off, or he's going to try and knock you out, or he's going to be a cheap shot artist, or whatever. And but nowadays, man, they don't have to worry about those kind of types of things. You can just go out, run around, hey, he hit me
He
in
touched
the
me.
ear,
He touched
you know.
me. His hand touched my face mask, 15 yards. And the funny thing is, we start to buy into it. I was saying yesterday, I don't think I could have played football if horse collar was illegal then because I don't know how else to tackle anybody. But now, if you horse collar tackle somebody, you might as well eye gouge them. That's how dirty they treat you. So now, target him. He touched him. He touched him. Get him out of the game. I can't stand how they do it in college where they kick him out the game. I think 15-yard penalties is
No,
enough.
that's the worst, man.
It's
I
just
think
too
that is
much.
the worst.
Let these
I
kids
mean,
play.
especially in these big games and at critical moments, man, to lose a defensive player at that moment. My whole deal is this. I mean, even as a receiver, um, if I catch the ball and I see you coming and you've already started your angle to hit me,
Mm-hmm.
well, my deal is I'm going to try to get under your hit.
Yeah.
So
You're probably going to touch
that,
my helmet.
that the problem becomes these guys start their launch angle, and they can't change that. You
Hmm.
can't change the launch angle midstream,
Right.
but I can change my angle of where you're going to hit me.
Hmm.
And sometimes you get to the point where you connect helmets with guys, and they blame that on the DB and not the receiver. And these guys, end up getting penalized for that, man. So I think, you know, I just think this thing is about as backwards as it can get at this particular point. But when you have people up in New York City, man, uh, who got suits and ties on and who are making these decisions, that's going to happen.
That I get scared about that. I hate that those unnecessary penalties. And the alternative is too, guys are going to go low and take your knee out. And I think most guys would rather just get blown up, be able to shake it off, and blow your knee out because that could just end everything. Um,
Yeah, yeah, no
so
doubt.
anyway,
Yeah.
uh, charity work. You working with any charities right now that we'd like to tell the fans about?
Yeah, well, I've been doing my mentoring mini camp out in California for, man, over 20 years now. So we didn't have it this year because of everything that was going on. But
Hmm.
so it's one of the things I'm really proud of. We've been really trying to mend the relationship between, strangely enough, police officers in the inner city. And we've had a program for over 20 years where we make the police officer mentors over the kids, and so they check in on the kids. And so Sacramento and Oakland has said that they have seen a difference, more Sacramento than Oakland, because our program, because of the California Highway Patrol office being in Sacramento, we based our program there for the last 15, 16 years. But so, yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I'm doing, down here in Dallas. I'm involved with a character development program called Ethos, where, man, we're trying to get into these schools, man, and talk to these young kids. Usually we talk to the worst kids in the school,
Hmm.
trying to get them to redirect. We started in high school, went down to junior high school. Now everybody's telling us we have to go to elementary school, man, and start with those kids, because by the time they get to be 13, 14 years old, they've already, the patterns of what they're going to do has already been set, and
Hmm.
it's going to be pretty hard to change them. So now we're talking to 7, 8, 9 years old, man, 9 year olds, trying to get these guys to look at life a little differently. So we got our hands full down here, man. We're not letting the grass grow under our feet. That's for sure. So
Yeah, you're right. Gotta get to these kids early. Is there anywhere that any of my viewers can help out? Is there anywhere they could donate or volunteer time or anything to either of these organizations? If so, how can they reach you?
yeah, it's ethoseducationgroup.org, I believe it is.
Okay. And,
And the one program I do out in California is under 911 for kids.
okay.
So that may be .com, but try .org or .com.
Okay. And
And
everybody watching, I'll find out and I'll put it in the comment section so we can do this. So, hey, I appreciate your time. I mean, I'm sure that you got these interviews back to back to back now that you got the jacket, and you're one of 9 people on earth that has a gold jacket and a Heisman Trophy winner. So, appreciate your time so much, brother. I love you. Hopefully, we can see
same
you
here,
on
brother.
campus sometime, and it's been great, man. So, thank you so much, guys.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks a lot.
Be good.
Be good. All right, everybody, watch the show today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was Tim Brown. Trying to bring you the best content I can. If you like this show, please hit like. Please feel free to share it on your timeline. I'd like to get as many viewers as possible. Any future topics or people that you'd like to see us interview, feel free to reach out to me and let me know. Appreciate your support, everybody. We're out.
But now the day has come. But let you know where I'm coming from. Yeah. Baby, look what you done for me. Yeah.